OData query options. There are lots of them which we don't need to do any custom implementation. Select is one of the OData query option which we don't need to provide any implementation. Similarly, count. I'm going to explain all of it.
Yeah.
Similarly, expand. In case of expand, the framework provides you expand, but if you wanted to get optimized performance out of it, you need to implement that get expanded entity set and get expanded entity. We have already seen it. And the other one is format, which we regularly use. This format is meant to request the data in either XML or JSON format. The other one is links. Okay, and the other one is value. So these are the OData query options which we don't need to do anything. The framework automatically provides support for these OData query options. On the other hand, there are some of the OData query options which need custom implementation. One is order by, and the other one is top, the other one is skip, one is filter, is inline count. There might be many more, but these are the ones that we use very frequently. Okay, so let's look at, there will be one more skip token. Okay, let's look at one by one. Okay, what this select does is, let's say if we have lots of properties on the entity set or entity, but we don't want to we don't want all of those properties, but we just want some of the selected properties. Okay, so let us use the enterprise procurement model OData service that we have been using all along. So let's say if I request sales orders, let's say I will add the OData query option format equal to JSON. This is one of the OData query option which we use regularly. What this means is you are requesting the response in the JSON format. Okay, so let us call all the, so if you look at it, in it there are several properties under the sales order entity. Let's say sales order ID, Sales order ID, created by, created at, changed by, changed at, and note, and let's say buyer ID, buyer name. So let's look at gross amount. There are lots of several other properties apart from the ones which we are listing. So even though there are lots of other properties, when I am requesting the sales orders, I only want these attributes to be listed in my sales order, right? So in order to do it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add query option select equal to, okay, all these property names, okay, and I'm going to request it in the JSON format, right? I'm just going to add ampersand and dollar symbol format equal to JSON. So let's execute it. So if you look at it, I mean earlier we have several other properties, but now we just have the properties that we requested for. Sales order ID, note, buyer ID, buyer name, gross amount, net amount, tax amount. And that is what you get. Okay. So we are requesting only two sales orders. Let's just change it. Let's just request for more.
Hey Sudhir,
Mm-hmm.
just to understand, I mean, where exactly will we use these queries? I mean, so in our application, I mean, we'll have some button and then we'll add a, I mean, on action of that button, we will call this
Yeah,
query.
whenever you are requesting information, right? Let's say whenever you make a call to the back end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah,
say if you are representing all the information that you are receiving in a table, let's say you don't want to show all those properties, then you can just request whatever you want.
asking in
So,
general, I mean, all the queries, I mean, where exactly and how will we be using it? I mean, not specifically select
uh-huh.
general queries, where will,
You request it from your UI5 or Fury applications.
right, okay. So, I
And
mean,
you will have this part. Up to this part you will register the OData service.
mm-hmm,
After that, when we discuss UI5 or Fury, we will come to know how to request. But at this point, let's say if you show data in a table, let's say if you bind this path to the table as a data service, then automatically whenever the table comes into existence, or whenever the UI5 view comes into existence, it calls it sends a call back to the service requesting for this service or this resource. Does it make sense?
yeah, okay, thank you.
At this point of time, without knowing how to do UI5 applications or how to bind the data, you don't understand.
Right. All
So
right,
all
thank you.
along,
Sorry.
no, it's all right. All along, we have been talking about the gateway service, right? In a couple of sessions, we will be done with it. Then when we move on to UI5 applications or Fiori applications, we will talk about how the calls will be made when you
Hmm.
bind certain entities or entity sets to the user interface elements.
All right, okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is about select query option. instead of requesting the whole entity set or entity, you can select the properties which you want to request. Then the only those properties will be shown. So earlier we were just requesting two sales orders. Let me request more. Okay, so if I request for this information, I will get 20 sales orders with only properties that I select. Okay. So let's look at the second query option. The other one is count. Let's say when you are displaying it in a table or something, if you come to know what is the count of or what is the size of the table, then you can set the table size. Let's say if you have 100 records, right? Let's say if you have 100 records in a table, you want to know, by default you want to put the table size as 10, right? Then if it is less than 10, that okay, let me explain it first what the count does. Let's say here we are requesting 20 sales orders, right? But in a business scenario, probably we are going to display the sales orders associated with a sales associate or a customer. Then we want to know how many number of sales orders associated with that customer or sales associate or something. Then we can use it in UI. Let's say I want to know how many number of sales orders are there for this customer. Then I'm simply going to add query option count. Okay. Then it will give me how many number of sales orders are there when I'm requesting. And you execute it. If you see here, it says it is 20. Basically, when we requested in the get sales order entity, we are just requesting 20. So it gives you the count. Okay. So let's say, if I have a table on UI, okay. Let's say if there is a table UI element in my UI5 application. Let's say I want to set default table size is to 20 or 10 if number of sales orders greater than or equal to 10. But let's say if it is less than 10, then I want to set table size to the count. We don't know how much it is going to be. Then how do you get sales order, how many sales orders has been associated with this customer? Then you use this count parameter whenever you want to whenever you want to know how many number of sales orders or how many number of entities in your entity set, then you will use this count query option. Okay, this is how you will get the count. Any questions, guys, so far?
Just one question, Sudhir.
Mhm.
So when you wrote the select query, right? After
Mhm.
the sales order, you put question mark and wrote dollar select.
Yeah.
Now when you are doing the count, I mean you have a slash and then you have dollar count. Why not question mark? And how do you know when to put, I mean, I know it probably comes with experience, or is there something, that will tell us?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the, I mean, this is just query options, right? Or URI conventions. So this is the specification, right? I mean, if somebody put this is how you use it. There is mm, so I mean, if you look at it, I mean, there are different operations and different functions that you are going to use. So basically, it explains you how to use all of it. Okay. I mean, most probably for the system query options, you will give this question mark and dollar symbol, but there are some other requests which you use in a different format. Just go through this URL. You just, I mean, go through whatever the specifications it is mentioned in the OData, I mean, conventions and all. Okay. Normally, the system query options will be like this. Question mark and the dollar symbol, but there are some exceptions like this with the count and with the value. Okay, any more question? So the next one is expand, I mean, which we have seen extensively in the last 2 or 3 classes, and even the format. Even in the case of format, we have seen, I mean, XML versus JSON format. If you just, I mean, add, let's say if you don't add anything, it will give you in the XML format. If you add the system query option format equal to JSON, format equal to JSON, it gives the response in the JSON format. Okay. It gives you response in the JSON format. That is about the JSON. Let's look at the links. Right. Let's say from sales orders, if we wanted to go to sales order items, right? Then you will just say if you just give the sales order ID, if you just give the sales order ID and its items, order to items, then you will get the whole sales order items associated with the sales order. Okay. But instead of it, what you can request is, I mean, you just want only the links to the corresponding sales order items. Okay, if you look at it, this is the link to the sales order item with the sales order ID 5,000,002 and sales order item 10. Okay, then in that case you will just request like this. You will get all the links. When you don't need information, you will just get all the links like this. So in order to use the links, you are requesting the links on a particular entity. In this case, I am requesting all the links of the sales order items associated with the sales order ID 5,000,002. This is how you request the links. So probably whenever you don't need all the items associated with it, but if you just want links, this is how you get it. Um, there is one more query option, value. Let's say um, in this case I just display a sales order, but if you want to know what is the value of this note, you can request it like this. You can just mention the property name, okay, and you can add query option value. Then you will just, instead of getting the whole JSON element or XML element, you will just get the value inside the XML element. Okay, any questions, guys? Okay, so these are the query options which we don't need any implementation. The framework already provides help or support in regards to these OData query options. Okay, so let's say if you want to, if we look at the other query options, there is order by, there is top, there is skip, there is filter, there is inline count, which we will discuss. Okay, um, let's say if you want, I mean, let's say when we request sales orders, right, we are not requesting them in any order. They are just sorted by sales order ID or something. But let's say instead of it, we want to sort them by let's say gross amount, right? So how do we do it? So this is how you request it. Okay, order by equal to, you will give the property name with which you want to order or sort it, and you will just give the sort order, whether it is descending or ascending. Okay, let me keep a breakpoint. Let me keep a breakpoint so that we can see how to implement this. Okay, what I requested is, I want sales orders, but I wanted to make it sort by gross amount in the descending order. So the sales orders with the highest gross amount should appear first. Okay, so let's execute it. We know, so sorry, order by equal to gross amount. So let's say whatever you have sent in the request, you can see it in here. Okay, if you look at the request, Again, you will have parameters. In the parameters, if you see, sorry, let's look at, you have order in which, you receive one parameter, okay, gross amount, whatever the property name is, and whatever the order in which you want it to, uh, in which sort order, you should give the response, okay. So what should we do is, we should read that order. It did not do anything because we haven't written any custom implementation. What we are going to do is, once we got the entity set, so if we look at the request interface, there is a method called get order by, okay. This is the method, and the return property is, if you look at the parameters of this method, okay, you will receive type of table, which is of line type, this one. If you look at the this line type, there are two properties. One is the property and the other one is order, okay, property and order. So these are the two things that you receive, okay. Then what we do is, data, okay, lt order type, this one, and I'll create ls order type, I'll give the line type, okay. So I will use this method on the IO tech underscore request or context, right, get order by, I will receive the return parameter in here in the form of LT order. Okay, so once I have it, I will read it to ls order. Okay, I will read the first one. Okay, if ls order is not initial, okay, and if, then what we are going to do is, I will look at when ls order hyphen property, right, when ls order property case, if it is gross underscore amount, okay, let's just look at whatever the input parameter that we receive, okay, we are just actually passing the Okay, let's just see what we are receiving in here. Okay, so if you look at the LS order, so this is the thing. Even when we pass the property name, you will receive the above field name. Okay, so what we will do is, we will just say case ls order and hyphen property. Okay, when gross amount, then what we want to do is what we want to do is uh, we'll say if ls order score order equal to descending. Okay, else if ascending. Okay, then you are going to have okay, so you will have another case here. You can just add multiple values for this case based on what you want to sort your entity set through. So for now we are just sorting it through gross amount. Okay, what we will say is sort et underscore entity set by gross underscore amount descending. Okay, similarly we will sort it by ascending order based on whatever the user has requested. So basically we read the order by parameter. If it is descending, we read the property and we sort the entity set by the property which is sent by the user and whatever the order it is. Okay, here we'll say ascending.
Sudhir, and if they want it sorted by multiple fields?
Yeah, then you will, instead of reading the first one, you just loop through all that and accordingly you put your business logic.
Okay. So it will have to be one sort statement, right, based on what they have asked?
Uh,
Or you, no.
can it be sorted by multiple?
Yeah, if I want it sorted by say like gross amount, and but I also wanted it sorted by uh, create date or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Then what you got to do is, let's say if we pass multiple parameters in the order by, then you got to, you will receive in the get order by here.
Mhm.
Then you go through the properties and you look at the orders in what, in which order they wanted, and you will just sort them in whatever the order they want by which properties. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let me execute it. So in my case, I'm requesting it in the descending order. Okay, and it is gross amount. Okay, so if you look at it, I received 5 million 5. Earlier I have 5 million and 1. So if you look at, 5 million come in the second place. I have 5 million and 12. So this is how you sort your entity set by property and the order. Okay. Similarly, if I wanted it in ascending order and I wanted to request in the JSON format, I'm just going to say format equal to JSON. So it gives you in the ascending order. In the gross amount here, it you received 5 million and 17. Similarly, 5 million and 8. Okay. Any questions, guys?
Here, Sudhir, if you just wanted, say, suppose just two, three properties along with the order by, so would it just,
Okay, let me add. I'm not sure, but let me add with
yeah,
separated by commas.
no, you'll have to do that select, right? Dollar select, no?
No, we are doing order by, right?
N- No, my question was, I mean, if I want to use two query options in
Yeah.
one,
So okay, now we have added two order bys, right? You will receive two, but to your question, one second. Even when we, okay, select equal to, so these are the properties I am requesting. Okay, and you add an ampersand and followed by dollar symbol. Okay.
right? Yeah. So basically, to separate the query options, you just put ampersand.
Yeah,
That is what I. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We are adding format equal to JSON, right, for
Yeah.
every. So let's say if we request it like this. So to your earlier question, whether we can send two
Order.
properties in the order by, so you will receive two properties based on these properties. So you are going to sort your table. Okay. So if you look at it here, you just get the properties that you requested for, only some selected properties on the sales order.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to any questions, guys.
Oh,
So similarly, there is top and skip. Let's say if your sales order says, let's say 50, right? So let me just make a change here. Say 50, right? So what I'm doing in my UI5 application is even though there are 100 items in 100 sales orders, at a time I'm doing only 10. So what I will ask is, for the first time, I'm going to ask just give me top 10. Next time what I'm going to ask is, okay, skip first 10, skip equal to 10 and give me next 10. So what this is let's say when you are showing only a subset of the entity set on your view, instead of requesting all the entities at once, you can request first the top 10, then after you are going to skip and ask for next 10, then you are going to skip for 20 and ask next 10. Okay, so let's say if I request for top 20, I'm going to ask for the sales orders, but I'm going to ask only top 20 or top 10. So here we got to implement for that case. Okay, here we are giving all the 50. Let's say here we are giving all the 50, but whenever they request with top or skip, we got to do it accordingly. Okay, let me show how to do it. So if you look at the request context, okay, here you have get tap and get skip. Okay, in the get tap you will receive a single parameter of type string. You will get whatever you have passed in the tap. Similarly in the get skip, you will receive whatever has been passed in the skip parameter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add couple of variables, data lv top type int4, okay, and data lv skip type int4. Okay, so let me read lv top and lv skip. Lv top equal to whatever the IO tech underscore request context get top lv skip, okay, is so what I'm going to do is if somebody requests me top 10, I should give only 10 sales orders, right? So I'll just say if LV top is not initial, or LV skip is not initial. Okay. So when we are looping, I mean in the site tab index, we will get how many number of loops we have gone through if we have skip, right? If
Site tab
site
X.
tab x greater than uh, LV
LV.
skip, then only we take into consideration. Okay. But I mean, if they have entered top, if we are going to describe the size of it, okay, data LV size type, okay, int 4. So I'm going to describe table et underscore entity set lines LV underscore size. So what I'm going to do is, let's say if he requests only for 10, I'm going to look at the size, okay, size greater than or equal to LV top, then I'm simply exiting from this loop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if it is not, I mean, if he did not pass any LV top or LV escape, I'm simply going to loop through and pass everything which we got. Okay, you guys follow me?
Yeah.
So how do we request? Let's say if I request for top 10, here I add top 10 and request it in the JSON format. Okay, so here, okay, site tab x equal to 1, the skip is 0, so it is going to take into consideration everything. Okay, so if you look at it, we only get we started with 5 million and we end with 5,000,009. So exactly we got 9 and exactly we got 10 sales orders. But let's say if we wanted to get the next 10 in the list, right? Then I'm going to say skip equal to 10 and top equal to 10. So I'm requesting the next batch of sales orders, right? So if you look at it, so the top is 10 and the skip is 10. Okay, so we are just going to, I mean, we are not going to consider the first 10. We are just going to skip the first 10 and we are going to consider all the next 10. So if you look at it, it skipped the first 10 and started giving you from 5 million and 10, it goes to 5 million and 19. So since we got 20, the next request is going to be skip next 20 and give me 10. Okay. So it start giving it 5 million 20 and then set 5 million 29. Okay. Let's say, so we have already got 30. So next time I send a request, I send skip 30 and give me next 10. Okay. So if you look at top, you are always requesting for 10. So, and in the skip, if you see, I mean, you will receive 30. Okay. Um, any questions, guys?
So skip and top probably is always used together, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can, for the first time, you can just request for 10, I mean, top 10, don't skip anything.
Right,
Subsequently, you are going to mix it with skip.
right. Or you can first you can say skip 0, right?
Yeah, you can, but it does not hold any meaning, right? You can just say that.
Right.
Yeah. So that is one. The next one is filter. Okay. So in this case, I mean, up to this we are clear, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So up to this point, I mean, whenever we are requesting entities or entity sets, we don't take into consideration what user has been, passing us. Okay, we haven't passed anything. So if you look at it, 1 second, I will take the filter. You can filter, whenever you are requesting for entity set, you can filter it fast. What that mean is, let's say, here I can say created by 33. I don't know what it means, but let's just say filter equal to, okay, created by equal to 33. And if you want to add more filter parameters, you can just say add and say gross amount equal to gross amount greater than, let's say, this one, something like this. Let's say GT. Okay, let's see. So, we need to, instead of giving the 50 sales orders, what we should do is we should take those filter options into consideration, and we will give all those sales orders which qualify for those filters, right? So let's look at, if you look at it here, you'll see filter select options. In the filter select options, you will receive two properties. One is created by and the other one is gross amount. Okay, let's just go to that. So if you look at the table, so created by equal to 33. In the second case, I am requesting for gross amount greater than this number. Okay, what I should do is, First I read these filter select options, which is of type this one. If you look at it, okay, property and the select options. In the select options, which is of type property is of type string, select options is of type options. If you look at the line type, this is the line type, and in here if you look at it, you will have a sign option, mean low, high, okay. So what I will do is first I read the if it filter, okay, select options, okay, is not initial. So let's read the first one. Read table, mean into then you'll get LT sellout type, this one, then data ls cell opt type into ls select app, right? So if when ls case sellout ls sellout when property equal to when created by instead of read, I mean we will just say loop at and loop. Okay, when created by when gross amount equal to okay, so once you have the structure, you are going to get the table out of it. You have select options table, okay, and you have this. Okay, similarly, data will be created by type data will be gross amount equal to type. So let's get these. Created by this. This is the type. So even the gross amount, this is the type. Okay. Read table LT select options into LS cell OPT index 1. Okay. So whatever I receive in it, I'm going to have a sign low and high. So whatever it is there in the first one, low. Basically, whatever, however you want to implement the filters, then you accordingly will get, if it is between, you will get both low and high. Accordingly, you will store it in your variables, and you are going to uh, use it in the select statement in your, while you are reading the sales orders. Okay. So in this case, I'm just going to read this low value in both the cases, and probably you got to let's say, if you look at it, probably we got to read the operator too, whether it is what kind of what kind of operator it is, option, whether it is equal to, or you got to read sign, So based on how you want to implement these select options, you got to read and properly store those variables and apply it in the select statements in the on the sales address table. Okay, so I got both created by and gross amount. I'm not going to fully implement it, but I will just show you the values. I will just show you the values. Okay, in case. So let me execute it. So in the filter options, we have passed two filters. One is the created by and the other one is gross amount. Okay. So created by and gross amount. If you look at the table, the sign is include, option is equal to, the value is 33. Okay. And the other one is just sign equal to include, option greater than, and the gross amount value. So let me just read it. It is created by, sorry. So I got the created by value 33. Okay. So in this case, I used the same parameter. Let me just go back and change it. Okay. So I get initially created by, this is the created by value which we have passed, and we got gross amount. Actually we got the whole select options. Here we got to take into consideration the option to, here it is greater than not equal to. Once we got the filter options, instead of reading, this function module, the function module that we used did not give any option to pass different parameters. Only it accepts multiple, how many number of rows or how many number of sales orders you are requesting. That is the only input parameter that it accepts. But in our case, we do have we do want to give the data based on who created it, based on whether the gross amount is more than like $10,000. So this function module is not going to work. So instead we need to write our own select statement or something where we take into consideration the fact that user has passed the filters. We take into consideration those filters and we need to give data accordingly. Okay, so I'm not going to implement it, but once we have this data, we can just write select statements and give back the data that fits the filter options. Okay, that is about the filter. In this case we have not implemented it, but once we got the data, we write proper business logic to give a proper response which adequately fit the filter options that the user passed. Any questions, guys?
No.
So the last one is inline count. There is other one too, skip token and delta token, which is used in offline OData surveys. That is a little bit complicated and be used in the mobile applications and all. Okay, so whenever you got time, just go and search for the skip token and delta token in terms of OData. Just read about it. And the other one is inline count. Okay, what inline count stands for is, instead of let's say if I wanted to get sales orders, and if I wanted to know what is the count of the sales orders that I receive, I have to make two calls, one for getting the sales orders and one for getting the count. Instead of it, I could just ask for, how I can request is, instead of requesting sales orders one with this, okay, now I requested for the sales orders. If I wanted to ask for the count, this is how I request 50. So instead of making two calls, we can request for the sales orders, but at the same time ask for give me the count, based on how many number of sales orders you are going to give me back. Okay, so you can just request inline count equal to all pages. Give me the inline count. So we did not implement any logic. That's why it did not give the count. Let me go ahead and implement the logic for inline count. Okay. So if you look at IO technical request context, okay, there is a method called
As inline.
has count. Okay. Oh no, has inline count. Okay. So if it is true, the okay, if it has a inline count, we need to get the size of it and send it in the response. Okay, if you look at it similarly, as we have IO tech underscore request context, we similarly has ES underscore response underscore context. If you look at this type, okay, sorry, if you look at this response context, you have inline count property. So basically whatever number of sales orders you are going to send it in the response, basically take the count of it and fill it in this property. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, towards the end, I'm just going to say if IO underscore tech underscore request underscore context, okay, and say has inline count, right, equal to above true, okay, I'm going to describe my entity set lines LV underscore size. Okay, so I'm going to say et and es underscore response context. I'm going to include that count in the inline property of inline. One second, let me look at the. So inline count is the property which exists in the es underscore response context. Okay, I'll just say inline count equal to LV size. So if it is not there, I'm just going to clear that. So let me execute it. So let me execute it again. So we'll check if it is true. It is true, then the size is 50, right? Just so if you look in the response after the, I mean in the payload, you will receive count underscore count mean 50. So instead of sending two requests, one for sales orders and one for the count, we send I mean both request in the same request with inline count. So we receive the count and the corresponding data. Okay. So among all of these, I mean we are going to use this count, and we are using I mean expand extensively, and we are going to use format. Probably we are going to use links and value. For I mean paging and all, we are going to use top and skip. We use this filter I mean very much, because there are lots of ways you will get your data. I mean in our case we will just put 50 and we are just giving, but in most of the business scenarios you are going to give data based upon some criteria. Let's say I mean if a sales assistant logs in and if he puts something, let's say probably a sales organization or something, we are going to give data for that sales organization. We are not going to give all the data which exists in the table to the sales I mean associate. Probably he will pass some information to us which we are going to use, and which we are going to filter our data accordingly and to give it. So filters are going to be used very extensively. Okay, so this is about the OData query options. Any questions?
No.